What's going on, guys? Welcome back, LEOPAZZO Productions. Thank you very much for tuning in. I think I have just found the perfect external camera monitor. Let me go ahead and introduce to you the brand new Osee G7 Pro. Well, guys, welcome back. Hopefully all of you guys have been doing fantastic and starting off the new year 2025 with a bang, because I definitely know I have with this brand new monitor by Osee, the G7 Pro. This camera monitor is jam-packed with features. I'm telling you, I promise you, this monitor is huge. This is a game changer. Down in the description of this video, I've basically created some timestamp video chapters of all the different topics that we're going to be discussing throughout the course of this video, so you can just easily go ahead and click on them and just navigate to that specific section that you want to watch. So with that being said, that actually reminds me, I'm going to create a playlist video link of all of my videos about the G7 Pro camera monitor, so you can just easily visit that link and it's going to take you through all of those different videos about the G7 Pro. All right, guys, let's go ahead, quickly have a closer look at everything that comes included with the G7 Pro monitor kit. Starting off with the monitor itself, 7 inches touchscreen. I'm going to be sharing with you guys everything you need to know about this monitor throughout the course of this video, so definitely stick with me. Over here, top right hand side, we do have a standard USB-C to USB-C cable, and we can actually use this cable for a few different things. So for an example, number one, we can use this cable to power the monitor. We can use this cable from the monitor connected to our camera, so the monitor can actually power our camera. And we can also use this cable from the monitor connected to our camera, so the monitor can actually have control of some of our camera settings. We will talk a little bit more about that shortly. Over here, we do have a D-tap to DC cable, which can also be used to power the monitor, for an example, off a V-mount battery, D-tap output. Over here, top left-hand side, we do have this nice heavy-duty Osee tilting monitor mount, which does have quarter 20 thread here at the top with this little locking pin. We do have a cold shoe mount here at the bottom with some threads, and we do have this little screw here at the side that we can go ahead and tighten up the tension for the tilt via this little Allen key that we have included with this pack. And we do have this little tiny screw over here, which is basically like a little plastic cap, which is actually going to be used, if we want to kind of screw in over here over the DC input. All right, guys, let's go ahead and have a closer look. So again, 7 inches, a touchscreen monitor, and this is 3000 nits brightness, which is double the brightness of a typical high brightness monitor. And it is capable for extreme bright outdoors environments, which also reduces 30% of the panel power consumption by using the newest backlight technology. And as far as the contrast ratio with this monitor, which is 1300 to 1 with the new IPS black technology coupled with the anti-reflection coating, is going to greatly increase the perceivable contrast ratio, along with the upgraded anti-fingerprint and anti-glare, along with the 6H anti-scratch screen. For now, let's just go ahead and flip it over here towards the back so you guys can get a little bit more familiar with some of these connections and features that we have available. Starting off onto the left-hand side here, we do have two 3G SDI connections. The top one is an SDI input. The bottom one over here is an SDI output. Next to that, we do have that USB-C connection, which is a multifunctional USB-C connection. It can act as either an input or an output. So for an example, if we wanted to power this monitor via this USB-C connection, we can definitely do that. We can also use this as an output. So for an example, if you're going to be powering this monitor with an MPF battery, you can actually take that power from the MPF battery from the monitor and send that out to your camera and now power your camera from the monitor. We can also use this USB-C connection to connect the monitor to our camera, so the monitor can actually have control of some of the settings of our camera. For an example, our exposure settings, our white balance, and also some autofocus settings. Right over here into the middle, we have the MPF battery slot, which we can also power the monitor that way as well. It's nicely positioned right into the middle, so it feels nice and balanced. And we do have this little unlocking mechanism over here, little button, so we can just simply remove the MPF battery when we want to. Over here to the right hand side, we do have two HDMI connections. The top one is an HDMI input, the bottom one is an HDMI output, which are capable of supporting input and output up to 4K 30 frames per second. Over here towards the bottom, we do have a DC input, which is an additional way to power this monitor. And we do have this cable included, which is the D-tap to DC cable. Over here to the top, we do have the power on and off button. If you wanted to power on the monitor, just simply short press this power button. If you wanted to power off the monitor, you just long press this power button. And while the monitor is on, for an example, we can actually short press this button. And what that's going to do is lock the touchscreen, and to unlock it, another short press as well to unlock the touchscreen, which is a nice little built-in feature. So I think you guys are a little bit more familiar with everything over here at the back of the monitor. Let's go ahead and flip it over here towards the side. And you'll notice that we do have this SD card slot over here, which can actually be used to update the firmware for the monitor and can also be used to load our own custom LUTs to the monitor as well. Over here to the left-hand side, we do have the headphone jack, so we can plug in our headphones and monitor the audio coming to the monitor. If we go ahead and have a closer look over here at the bottom of the monitor, you can see that we do have the 1/4 thread mounting option, along with these two little locking holes over here, which is definitely a really nice feature. So when we mount our monitor, it's not going to be kind of twisting as we're using it throughout the day. So that's nice that they have those built in. So as far as other mounting options, where else do we have? We have over here at the top of the monitor as well, an additional 1/4 thread mounting. As far as mounting onto the right hand side or to the left hand side, there are no 1/4 thread mounts over there. And other than that, as far as the cooling management system, if we have a closer look over here again at the back of the monitor towards the top, you can see that we have these little little ventilation for the cooling management, and also over here towards the bottom. Again, this monitor does have an internal fan, which is a super quiet internal fan. All right, guys, this is the game plan. I have a few different options over here to power the G7 Pro monitor. I have an MPF battery. I also have a V-mount battery, which has a D-tap output and along with a PD output as well, USB-C. So let's just start off with the simplest one. We'll use the MPF battery here. So let's flip over the G7 Pro. Let's get the MPF battery. We have the terminals here at the bottom. Let's just slide it in. Bingo. Let's short press the power button. We'll flip it over here so we can see basically how long it takes and how it looks like when it boots up. Okay, perfect. So here we are, the G7 Pro powered on with the MPF battery over here. So as you can see, the display screen looks really nice. You can see the little interface that we have here. We're going to get more familiar with all the menu and settings and tools and everything. But right now, let's just focus on the different options of powering the monitor. So let's flip it over upside down. Let's go ahead and actually long press the power button over here, which is actually going to turn off the monitor. Okay, so I long pressed it, and the monitor is powered off. So let's take off the MPF battery. We'll just press this unlocking mechanism here and slide out the MPF battery. Next, let's use this V-mount battery. Let's use the D-tap output. So we have the cable again that's included with the kit. We'll just take off this little twist tie. Okay, so what are we going to do? This side over here, D-tap, we're going to connect it to our V-mount battery. Okay, so that's in there nice and snug. Next, what we're going to do is get this DC input, which does have a threaded little lock on it as well, which is really nice. So it's not going to come out while you're filming by an accident. So let's just tighten that on there. Perfect, it's on. Let's short press the monitor and let's see if the monitor wants to turn on. And bingo, here we are. Monitor is powering on off the V-mount battery D-tap output. Fantastic. All right, good stuff. So why don't we go ahead and power off the monitor? I'm going to long press it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And bingo, monitor is being powered off. Okay, let's unscrew this DC in. Okay, it's unscrewed. Now what we're going to do over here is power the monitor with this USB-C connection over here. So let's go ahead and do that. So one end is going to get plugged in over here to the top of the V-mount battery, the PD output. The other end, we're going to plug it in over here. to the USB-C input, and we're going to short press the power button. Perfect. The monitor has booted on and now is being powered via that USB-C connection at the back of the G7 Pro. All right, guys. So now that I have the G7 Pro powered on via the MPF battery, and I have the HDMI cable connected right now to the input from my laptop, just kind of displaying some colorful images over here while we go ahead and discuss some more detail about the monitor specs and features and display screen. So starting off with the 10-bit panel, it can display over 1 million colors. The color fidelity V2 chip has internal 22-bit precision and can precisely display the HDR and the camera log signals. The high precision tetrahedral 3D LUT interpolation can support up to 65 by 65 by 65 3D LUTs. Every monitor is precisely calibrated by factory with the built-in calibration. It makes on-location calibration even easier than ever. The front touchscreen is actually made of high aluminum silicate glass, which has excellent flexibility, scratch resistance, and impact resistant. The anti-glare performance and an anti-fingerprint design. With the internal die-cast aero aluminum plate, it provides the strongest support and effective heat dissipation. It also features a silent fan with a temperature sensor, which can achieve the best balance between noise and heat dissipation. So with the easy to operate touchscreen control interface, the G7 Pro is actually a real pleasure to work with, to be able to quickly and easily bring up all of our menu and settings and tools on this monitor. So just to go ahead and get you guys quickly a little bit more familiar, if we tap over here onto the bottom left hand corner, you can see that we brings up all of these different icons over here, and we have some information along the top. But just quickly having a closer look, if I start off by just tapping this first icon over here, which is my RGB waveform, I have control of where the position goes onto the screen, the opacity, and also the size as well. So just to go ahead and quickly show you guys, you can see over here as I go ahead and swipe up, we do have some further controls. For an example, the RGB style, is that the type of waveform, or do we want the parade style or the Luma style? So in my case, I like to use the RGB style. And the size, what size do we want it? Right now I currently have it small. We can set it to large, and we can set it along the bottom as well. So in my case, I like to have it small. And where do I want it? Either top right, bottom left, or top left, etc. So overall, it is nice to be able to control all of this. And I will mention some of our different icons and tools over here do have this additional arrow over here that allows us to go to the next screen to access even more menu settings. So if we wanted to go ahead and add more tools over here, we can click this little icon onto the bottom right hand side, which basically shows this little plus icon. So let's click on that, and you can see that these are all the different tools that we can add. For an example, aspect, safe, center, crosshatch, anamorphic, false color, zebra, waveform, vector, histogram, focus assist, peaking. We got the look, which is our own custom 3D LUTs. We got the multi-scope, which is actually a real nice one as well, the audio meters and time code. So let's just quickly add the multi-scope over here because I want to show you guys this one. So this one is actually really nice. It still gives me a nice display over here of whatever I'm filming. My vector scope, I got my histogram, I got my audio level meters, and along with my waveform. So that is definitely really nice. So I can easily toggle that on or off just like that. So to continue to get you guys a little bit more familiar, let's go ahead and tap this bottom right hand corner, this icon over here, which is going to bring up our monitor settings. So for an example, we can go ahead and tap on input, and we can switch the input between HDMI or SDI. We can actually only use one at a time. So if we want to use HDMI, we got to stick to HDMI. If you want to use SDI, this is where you're going to go ahead and swap that right over there. We do have the options to regulate basically the backlight and the volume. So basically, how bright do we want that monitor to be? In most cases, I like to set it to basically 5 or full brightness, depending on my environment of filming, and also the volume for the headphone monitoring as well. And just to go ahead and demonstrate that, if we actually close this menu and say we're filming onto the right hand side of the screen, if we go ahead and go down or we slide up, this is actually going to be adjusting the volume of the headphones, which we can quickly, easily, and access. And same idea over here onto the left hand side, we can adjust the brightness by sliding up or sliding down or putting it anywhere in between. So overall, as you guys can see, it's very intuitive and easy to use. So let's go back over here into the menu. Let's see what other options that we have over here. Let's take a look over here at the color. So this is where we're going to be able to adjust the log style or the standard. So let's keep it over here to log for an example. And now we can go ahead and select our camera that we're using. So are we using an ARRI, Blackmagic, it got a Canon, we got Fuji, our Nikon, Panasonic, we got a Red, or even a Sony. So depending on what you have, you can go ahead and select different gammas over here on what you're going to be using. For an example, Canon, we got C-Log 3, C-Log, and C-Log 2. And let's come over here to the Panasonic. We got V-Log, we got the Red, all these different options over here. So Red Log Film, for an example. And the Sony, we got S-Log 3, S-Log, and S-Log 2. So overall, I think you guys are a little bit more familiar over here as far as the color. And next over here, we have the user LUT. So let's go ahead and select on it. You can see LUT 1, 2, and 3 are my own custom LUTs. So how do you actually load your own custom LUTs? Well, load your LUTs onto the SD card, insert the SD card, and then come over here and select where you want your LUT to be saved. As far as info, the time of making this video, this is the firmware version and build info, etc. that I'm using at the time of filming this, and we can go ahead and do a factory reset right over here. There is another icon over here to the bottom right hand side. If we go ahead and click on that, that's just going to easily bring up my set, so all the different sets that I have saved. So we were looking at my set 1. Let's take a peek at my set 2. So my set 2, you can see what I have enabled over here. We got my waveforms over there top right hand side. We do also have my focus assist, focus peaking little tool over here as well, and we do also have my aspect ratios. I can also enter in my own LUTs as well, along with my audio level meters, and I can add more tools here as well. So guys, another quick and easy way for us to switch between our different saved sets over here. As you see, I have my set 1 open right now along with all my tools. We can actually swipe across the screen to go to our different sets that we have saved, and all of the tools that we have enabled or disabled, they are actually saved when we switch to our different sets. So guys, another helpful tool built into the G7 Pro, it actually features pinch to zoom. So let me just go ahead and quickly demonstrate. So with 2 fingers over here, you can just go ahead and zoom in. It actually zooms in quite far, and we can actually navigate throughout the screen as well, just by simply moving it around to kind of see which area maybe is in focus, for an example. So let's just go ahead and zoom in actually all the way. As you can see, it is a 4x zoom. All right guys, so to discuss in a little bit more detail about this monitor's camera control feature, let's go ahead and actually zoom in over here, take advantage of that zoom in feature, and let's take a look at some of this text over here. So it does say prominent record and photo buttons for ease operation. We do have one touch switching between monitor control and camera control. The camera control functions, what do we have available to us? We have the adjustments of our shutter, our aperture, ISO, white balance, focus area, and track focus points. Again, currently right now, we do have a list of cameras that are supported that this monitor can control. The G7 Pro will continue to upgrade to control more mainstream cameras. Currently, it does support these Canon cameras, these Sony cameras, and along with these Nikon and Fuji film cameras. All right, guys, check it out. I have some exciting news for you. Osee has just added a bunch of camera models that the G7 Pro is going to be able to support, and the Panasonic lineup, the LUMIX, is actually one of them. They have added several different Panasonic cameras. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the list right over here onto the screen. And guess what? That is not all. They have also added Z cameras, the cinema camera, box-shaped cameras, several different models of the Z cam as well. And they're going to continue to add more camera support. So I'm actually super blown away and very happy about this, because I own 2 Panasonic GH6s and I own 2 Z-Cams as well, the Z-Cam E2M4 and the Z-Cam E2S6. So guys, let's go ahead and quickly have a closer look over here at my setup. Very simple and straightforward. The monitor is being powered with the NPF battery. The HDMI input on the monitor is coming from the GH6 camera. And you can see right over here, I have the USB-C cable coming from the monitor going over here into my Panasonic GH6. This is the one touch control feature, switching feature between monitor controls, as you guys are already familiar with, all my tools that I have configured here towards the bottom. And the one touch control is actually this icon over here to the bottom left, all the way to the bottom left. And we can just go ahead and tap on that. And that's going to switch between monitor controls with all my tools now to my camera controls that you see over here to the left hand side. Starting off onto the top, this is basically like a touch to focus control. From my testing so far at the time of making this video, I have not been able to get the G7 Pro monitor to control my touch to focus or any focus settings for that matter. We have the shutter speed here at the top. We have the aperture controls, start and stop recording, ISO, white balance, and we can close this menu if we want to. And if we want to open it up, we just press over here onto the bottom left. Guess what I have lined up for you guys just to go ahead and show you. I have my Zcam E2 S6 connected to the G7 Pro with the USB-C cable over here. And I do also have the HDMI output from the camera going to the monitor. So similar to the GH6, I have not been able to set up the touch to focus or any of my autofocus settings from the monitor. As you can see, it's grayed out. Again, at the time of making this video, maybe in a future firmware update, it might be possible, but right now I have not been able to. So let's take a look quickly at these other settings that we have similar to what we have from the other camera. Let's click on the first one. You can see I have control of my shutter angle, which is really nice. So we do have full control over here. You can see that we can change the shutter nice and easy. So next over here, we do have the aperture controls. Right now I'm at f5. You can see that I can just simply toggle this up or down, and we can change the exposure nice and easy. We can obviously start and stop recording. We have control of the ISO as well. So you can see the exposure is changing by me changing the ISO. Next over here, we have the white balance. Overall, guys, very impressed, fantastic. And hopefully you guys can find this definitely useful for your setup as well. Well guys, it looks like we reached that time of the video to give you my overall thoughts and opinion of the G7 Pro. Obviously, if you guys cannot tell already, I'm in love with this monitor. I am sold, even with just the 3000 nits, sold. Touchscreen, sold. 7-inch, sold. HDMI in and out, sold. SDI in and out, sold. Color calibration, sold. Add our own custom LUTs, sold. The fact that we can actually have camera control over this monitor, sold. The ease of use, sold. Everything about this monitor, I am in love with. The 4K 30 frames per second, it is incredible. Honestly, I promise you, for what we are getting, for what we are paying, it's definitely 100% worth it. Guys, you can buy whatever monitor you want. I'm just giving you guys my overall thoughts and review and opinion of the G7 Pro. I definitely would recommend it. So if you guys are interested in purchasing this monitor, or you guys want to know a little bit more about it, I'm going to leave a link down in the description down below so you guys can check it out. I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Till next time, peace.